motorsport family. You're tuned into another episode of Stripping the Dipping, where we dive behind the scenes of racing's most fascinating minds. And today, we are heading straight into the heart of the MotoGP and Formula One paddocks. Our guest this episode has one of the coolest jobs in the world of motorsports, navigating the high speed chaos and calm of the race day as an international event personnel pro. From organizing the flow of the paddock to ensuring everything runs like clockwork for some of the world's biggest racing series, she's the calm in the storm and the smile behind the scenes, even though she's losing her calmness. She's been in the thick of it, from the thrills of MotoGP weekends to the elite spectacle of Formula One. Her insight into what really happens behind those hospitality doors is something fans rarely get to hear. So sit tight, charge your energy drinks, and let's welcome the woman who brings elegance, organization, and adrenaline to every track she sets foot on, Inés Yofre. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the introduction.
So, first, I'm going to ask you this question. Who is Inés Yofre?
So, Inés Yofre is a girl that grew up in Argentina, and then she moved to the US, had the opportunity to, go to college there, open her mind to new experiences, and then got the opportunity to kind of start a job there. And thankfully it was within F1. I was very happy about that, lifelong dream of mine. And now working every day through different aspects of it and enjoying the experience.
So, since you mentioned Formula One, let me ask you this question. You worked across, of course, two of the most iconic global racing series, two wheels from MotoGP and four wheels from Formula One. What first attracted you to the fast-paced world of motorsports, and how did your journey into event sales and fan experiences actually begin?
Yeah, so I watched Formula One growing up with my dad. Like, I remember Sundays, just like getting in the couch with all the family and kind of watching the races. And then as I got a little bit older, I started getting more serious into field hockey. So my weekends were kind of filled with that, so kind of got brushed away. And then when I was in college, actually in the US, I got injured. So my career kind of came to an unexpected end, and I needed to find a sport where it wasn't extremely like demanding on me, that I could kind of like enjoy. I thought maybe tennis, pickleball, and then one weekend I was at my parents' house. They were watching Formula One, and then kind of watching it again and getting back into it, I felt the same feeling when the race was starting and like just watching the cars, as if I was walking into a field hockey field and I was about to like play a game. So I was like, oh wait, this might be like where I found that like exciting thriller and like those emotions I felt while I was playing in a sport where I get to like watch and enjoy, as stressful as it might get and everything. It was like really cool. And then once I kind of got back into it, I was like, okay, this is where I want to work. I want to experience that world from a different perspective, not necessarily as a fan. And I was lucky enough to kind of like come across a job in a company that does MotoGP F1. So I applied, got the interview, and then kind of like went pretty fast from there. But it's still like, I still sometimes like don't believe it,
Here we are, right? Living the dream.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, telling people 5 years, oh, sorry, I was gonna say like 5 years ago or even longer, I would tell people like, oh yeah, I want to work in F1, and people would like laugh at my face, like, why is a girl, like, what do you know about F1? And now it's like, it's changed. It's like, oh my gosh, you work for F1. So that's also cool to see.
Oh, I understand that feeling definitely. Being a woman, a lot of work, and then they're like, what do you know about cars? What do you know about Formula One?
Yeah.
And so
exactly. Yeah.
So, Ines, give us a glimpse behind the curtain. What's it really like working as an event personnel for Formula One and MotoGP? What does a race weekend look like for you from setup to checkered flag? Because for us as fans, as you also know, we just sit in front of the camera from the TV and then we just watch it. Or we'll be at a grandstand or a premier grandstand and we'll be watching the race and then, criticizing or crying or laughing, all the stuff, the whole emotional mix will be going through that, and then that's it. But for you, as a person who's actually working, it's totally different.
Yeah, so usually as a sales rep, I'm kind of working the whole year in like helping clients buy for the first time, repurchasing, looking at new tracks. So kind of like throughout the whole year, it gets like that. In the sales side, as we get closer to the event, just like checking back in with customers, seeing if they have gotten their tickets, their credentials, if they need anything, do they need parking, like any kind of information they might need. And then when I get the opportunity to go on site, we usually get there like Monday or Tuesday of that week. So our week starts pretty early. Usually first day is going on track, looking at the spaces we have, doing walkthroughs of like, we offer experiences obviously. So we kind of have to like, okay, we thought about this in our head with Google Maps. How do we apply it in person? Finding different routes. And then I usually on Thursday get the opportunity to go to our hospitality spaces, play around with the tables. Do we have enough? Do we need to get rid of some to get more space? What are we missing? If we're in Paddock Club, making sure that everything in the walls look good, especially when we do like team suites. And then usually Thursday afternoon we get into like our fan activities. And that's where it like actually starts because we're customer facing. So making sure they have a good time, they enjoy the experiences we give them. And usually they go really well. They really enjoy getting to do like a pit lane walk and the track tours. And it's really cool also getting to meet your clients. That's like an amazing experience. And then once Friday hits, early morning, getting to the track before everyone else does, last minute, like changes or like details that we need to like get ready. And as people start showing up, usually Friday is the craziest day, I would say, because everyone's new. So people might not know where to go, where things are, like what do they have with their package or like different experiences they can do. So usually Friday is a little bit chaotic if you want to call it like that, but it's really cool seeing people. And then Saturday, it runs a little smoother. Same early morning, but then you get like qualifying, so people are really excited about that. And then Sunday, it's like, okay, almost wrapped up with the day. So as the race starts, we are already starting to think like, okay, freight, what do we need to pack? What is the contractor packing up? Where do we need to get the boxes? Where's the storage room? So then it gets a little bit more like crazier again because we have to plan everything again. But it's very cool to like, even if it's stressful at sometimes, it's like, okay, I'm stressed, but it's for a good reason.
So you spoke about the fan experience and what the customers are expecting and how the crazy days are going around and all that. So you're at the heart of shaping once in a lifetime experiences for motorsport fans at most of the time. How have expectations changed over the last few years, and what are fans asking for more than ever before?
Yeah, I think that in the past, and I think throughout like life, a couple of years ago, you wanted to go to a Formula One race. The only option you had was to just get a regular ticket to the race, and that was all you could get. And I think throughout the years, and as Formula One, obviously, it was a very popular sport back in the day, kind of died down, and then it's huge again. People wanted those extra experiences. The opportunity to, have a pit lane walk, be in the paddock, maybe instead of being in a grandstand, being in a room with air conditioning. So I think that's how we came into it. People just want experiences. You obviously have people who still just want the regular tickets, but I think people are asking for these experiences. They want to get more involved. They kind of want to get that behind the scenes experience through us. So yeah, I think that's the biggest change. I've only been working here for a little bit less of 2 years, but I can just tell the difference because we're offering it in more and more sports, so you can see it kind of like everywhere.
So, motorsports, when it comes to the major series, it's Formula One and MotoGP. So, there are so many fan cultures behind both of the series. Having been part of both paddocks, how would you compare the fan culture between MotoGP and Formula One? Are there any striking differences in how fans engage or what they prioritize?
Yeah, I would say biggest difference between the two is gonna be that now with Formula One, you might have a lot of famous people coming in, people getting invited into the spaces. You obviously still have some fans, but a lot of the people just kind of like want to go there, get the pit lane walk, get some pictures, try to be in the paddock and kind of like get out. They might not know who the drivers are, and that's okay because we obviously want new people coming into the sport. But I think that now it's getting like a lot of brands doing sponsorships and stuff, so you maybe are getting less fans in those spaces. While in MotoGP, one of the experiences we offer was a garage tour, and I got to go in with the group. And the questions the MotoGP fans were asking were so technical that it was crazy to see how huge fans they were. Moto 3, Moto 2 was racing. Everyone was gone from the suite. Everyone was watching every single race. No one came back into the suite at any single point. Always asking questions of, oh, do you know this? Like, always trying to get more information within the sport versus in Formula One, where you might see people just like not show up on Friday or not watch any other races, sitting down during the race. So I think MotoGP has like really very, very passionate, and I think it's just in more quantities than Formula One maybe right now. No, there's huge fans with lots of knowledge, but I feel like you see them less often now.
I mean, these days, that's exactly the problem that we have as well, because we would love to have some real passionate fans who are actually understanding what is going on and then question about those things rather than actually asking who's the celeb who's going to come here and sing and all that. But unfortunately, it has turning into a huge showbiz trend, which Formula One is going through. So, for majority of the sport fans who are coming from ages ago, like who watches Formula One for more than 7 to 10 years, for them, they are very saddened by the reality right now. But for newcomers, it's just they sometimes have no idea what they're talking about also, so it's always there's something, right? But it's interesting
Yeah.
how MotoGP fans are like. That's actually basically the dream fan said that the F1 fans are actually wishing for right now. So
Yeah, and you're
so
on TikTok, and my TikTok is filled with Formula One influencers, and like they are out here trying to like buy tickets or get invited by brands, but you truly can see that they're huge fans. And then you randomly get a video being like, "Hey guys, I got invited to the Formula One game," and you're like, "Game? Like it's a race, like it's not a game." So you're kind of like, what's happening? So hopefully we'll see more like brands maybe tapping into those like Formula One influencers, small or big, because I feel like that will give everyone like a lot of opportunities and hopefully help the sport grow more.
absolutely. Recently, we just started a series in our TikTok page to build up the awareness of the sport Formula One. So we started teaching everybody in both Sinhalese, which is my mother language, and in English about the basics of Formula One to the technical parts to everything in and about Formula One and what's happening with the rules and regulations and everything so that people understand. And couple of comments among all the comments that we received, couple of comments were one particular comment was there saying that all this time I started watching Formula One and I thought it's so stupid that they can't even overtake one car. But now you guys are explaining the whole thing and I understand how hard it is. So I think building awareness is really more important than anything right now so that people actually understand how it is done and why it is done and how hard it is actually to do this. So absolutely. So whether
Yeah.
it was the case of Miami or the passion at a MotoGP round, what's the most unforgettable moment you've experienced on the job?
Yeah. I think for me, the one moment that I'll truly never forget was Miami last year. It was the first time I was going on site, my first Formula race, like in person, and just kind of like getting to the track and like walking around and like being able to walk through the track and seeing it in person. I was like a little kid at a candy store. I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Seeing the cars on track for the first time, like hearing that sound in person and being like, oh my god. Getting to walk in the paddock too. Just like Miami has a very specific paddock as well because you have the paddock inside the stadium and it kind of connects to the Paddock Club building. So getting to walk through there and being like, and seeing like the drivers, the team principals, like the team members, and just being like, I think at that moment was like, I made it. So I think that really resonates with me of like just getting to be there in person for the first time and in a way helping me understand how it all works too. So yeah, it was crazy. I took so many pictures. It was very cool.
Well, Ines, let me tell you this. You made it.
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
would also say every time I like get to meet a client in person as well, that's also very good because you usually just talk on the phone with them or via email. So when you finally meet them in person and instead of just being like hi, they give you a huge hug and they thank you for everything. That's also like those are more like specific and they happen more often, but I love that from the job too.
I mean, that's a job well done and the satisfaction that you get saying that, okay, you know what? I've done my part and it's been done really nicely. That's like an
Yeah,
achievement for you.
for
So,
sure.
of Miami and the whole chaotic F1 calendar and the worksheets and the task, race weekends can be logically intense and emotionally charged. How do you and your team manage pressure and ensure everything runs smoothly for high end clients and fans alike?
Yeah. So obviously, I'm in the sales part of this, but we have an amazing operations team and logistics team that have been doing this for a couple of years now. So it's we do pretty it's pretty similar like for every race week. Obviously, you have some races that are slightly different, like Monaco, for example. But amazing team that kind of like organizes everything for us. So we usually have a couple of pre race meetings of kind of like, okay, these are the spaces we have, this is what you'll be doing. Just kind of give you all the information, putting it all in one place. They're just like very open too, so any questions you might have, you can go in there. So they make it very easy. So by the time you like arrive on track or at the hotel, like you know what your weekend pretty much is gonna look like. So that makes it easier. Obviously, there's like so much freight that we need to carry around. We have contractors that help us do that too. But I think we have a good team that is able to like lead us weekend through weekend, organizing everything and just being like, this is the information. If you have any questions, let us know. So we're not like overwhelmed with anything. But it's a lot of planning and especially like ticket delivery, credentials. I don't think people understand how much goes into that and how intertwined it is. So yeah, we have really good people that helps us do that, so it makes also like our jobs easier on site.
So, as you've been talking about the job experience and the work, all that the work that you do, as a young woman working on the front lines of elite motorsport events, what has your experience been like navigating this space? Have you seen encouraging shifts in diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, I think that obviously when you look at the sport, um, what F1 Academy has done, I think that all goes, like, obviously all women, but Susie Wolf has been doing an amazing job at forcing that inclusion. Obviously, that's more on the racing part, but seeing the support from Toto, he's huge in the sport as well. So seeing more women being represented within the sport, it's awesome. And I think that slowly the doors are opening. Obviously, still a male dominated field, but I will say that being in the paddock and walking around, you see a lot of women out there and people that are doing amazing things within the sport. So I think still probably hard, especially maybe in the mechanic side or the engineers. But I think slowly but surely these doors are starting to open for people. Females in motorsports, I got to chat slightly with the founder of that, Elena, and she's doing amazing things. So I think we're slowly finding our mark in there. Um, like always, we still have a long way to go, I would say. Hopefully in a couple of years we might get to see like a female Formula One driver, who knows. But I would say that even being walking around the paddock, people have been extremely nice to me and opening. You get to talk to them. I got to go down to the Haas garage in Miami and like just like talking to me like I was one of them, you know. So it's good to see that for sure.
So, your bilingual background and international outlook must be a huge asset. How has that helped you connect with global fans and elevate the event experience?
Yeah, so to begin with, I got my job because I was able to speak Spanish. They were like specifically looking for someone that spoke the language. And I do mostly Spanish sales, so it's really nice getting to talk to people. A lot of them are Argentinian like me, so you kind of understand more their background. Cultures are different as well, so people might get anxious a little bit sooner of like not getting their tickets or the credentials, or their credit cards might not go through because like the currency. So I think because I experienced that being from another country, I can kind of relate to them to that. And I think just having someone that speaks their language is huge because a lot of them might not really speak English or understand it. So they're like, oh, thank God, like someone speaks Spanish. So I think it just helps connect. In Mexico, for example, not a lot of people spoke English. So there were two of us that spoke Spanish. So we kind of like needed to help all around, which I'm obviously very happy to do because I see it as a strength, right? You speak another language, you can talk to more people and kind of like offering what I have to help. But I think it has, in a way, given me an advantage, if you want to say it, to get the job. And then for specific races, I know that I'll be going to F1 Mexico pretty much every year because they need someone that speaks Spanish. So, but connecting with guests definitely helps because even if they're not my clients and they have a question, I'm there to help or answer whatever they might need. And you understand their culture a little bit better as well.
So, you've already ticked off MotoGP and you've already ticked off F1. What's next on your motorsport bucket list? Are there any events or roles you aspire to take on in the future?
So I've been to to two Formula One races, Mexico and Miami, but I'm actually heading out to Monaco next week. My boyfriend also works in the sport, so he got assigned to go work, and I'm going as a guest for the first time. So I think that's going to be a huge moment because we know, although Monaco might not be the most fun race, most iconic, I think it's like a very good race that shows like how good of a driver you are because if you're an inch of like to the wall, you're crashing. So I'm very excited for that. I would love to go to IndyCar. I feel like that's also on my bucket list. Maybe Formula E, just to get an understanding of that sport a little more, especially with Formula One having all the changes coming. But I think any opportunity that might arise, like, sign me up, I'm in. Because there's a lot of things changing, so, but I would say Monaco right now is my number one.
There's a lot of things that even Formula One has adapted from Formula E, so there will be definitely things that you can learn from Formula E a lot.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a couple of people who's been working in Formula E, so it's quite different when it comes to
Yeah.
Formula One and Formula E. And some of the technological sides, usually what has happened is they've taken from Formula E and they have managed to put it inside Formula One also. For an example, the helmet camera that comes for Formula One drivers, it started from Formula E. So there are changes like that as well. So it's going to be very interesting, yes, for you. And since you've been living in US, you know the whole IndyCar vibe the Americans have. So it's one of the different series as well in the world. So I hope that you actually go and watch IndyCars when they go for the oval stadium to do the racing, where because it's a little bit different than street races or any
Yeah.
other races. So it's going to be a different experience for you as well. And we will get to see you watch all those things on on media. So speaking of which, what sort of advice would you give for whoever is actually into the industry to work in motorsport industry, but from the sales and events side?
Yeah, I think I always say, like, I was lucky to apply to the job and be available at the right time, because a lot of it's that, sadly. But I would say, like, reach out to people on LinkedIn. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to, like, hop on a quick call with you. Obviously, everything has to be done with respect. Like, don't harass people, but connecting with people, creating those connections. If you get the opportunity to go to a race, seeing like who you can talk to, just like slowly start it from there. Because I think of me myself like going to my first Miami race and not knowing anyone, and then kind of coming back this year being like, okay, I feel a little bit more comfortable. Still don't know a lot of people. Like, I'm very, very new, especially not being on site all the time. But people are very open, so growing that, not giving up. It's hard, especially because most of the jobs are located in the UK. You need a UK working visa. So there's a lot of things, but I would say keep fighting, don't give up. If anyone can help, like, reach out to people, and hopefully everyone that wants to make it will hopefully like get an opportunity in some way to experience something. I
So
think
we've
that's the
been
biggest thing.
Yeah. So we've been done talking about all these big, serious questions, and we are jumping into straight away the fun questions. I have a
Perfect.
couple of rapid fire questions that I'm going to ask you. The
Perfect.
first question that I'm going to ask you is, if you were a sandwich, what would be in it, and what would you name it?
That's a very good question. I
I
feel
mean,
like I would want to maybe
that's
something
actually
like
though.
yeah. If I had a fan base, I don't know. Maybe like, because my name doesn't really go with anything. It's something with probably like because you have all the Carbano, like all the good like driver combinations out there. I don't know if I would have anything cool with my name, but maybe something that was a little bit like broader, so it wasn't as necessarily specific to a sport, where some motorsports, something like that, where I can kind of talk about a bunch of different things without labeling myself. I would have to like probably put it on ChatGPT, put my name and a couple different things that like identify me and see what options it gives me. I'm really, really bad at coming up with like these kinds of things.
Just to say that we are not actually sponsored by ChatGPT, but I would rather take that sponsorship anyways.
Yeah, because I'm like literally like Inés racing with Inés, and I'm like, that is so boring. Like, what is this? Maybe
How do you
ChatGPT can give
feel
me
about?
just like a little.
I mean, how do you feel about having a Argentinian driver now in the paddock?
It's amazing. It's really helped the sport kind of like revive here in Argentina. If you're driving down the street, you'll see like billboards and everything around. So I think it's really good because it also opens the door to potentially hosting a race here, even if it's in a couple years. So it's really exciting. I hope he can do well and hopefully stay in for the rest of the season for sure. That's like all we can hope for.
I mean, whenever I see him, all I can see is the resemblance of Senna. Like
Yeah.
that face, it's oh my good God, how is that even possible?
It's crazy. Like, you see the pictures, and maybe if you're just looking at him on a single picture, you're like, oh, maybe. But when they put them side to side, you're like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So, yeah. I mean, hopefully he can channel his inner Senna and, like, kill it in these races and just, like, do an amazing job. Um, just for him and also for the sport. Like, we are very lucky as Argentinians to have other like huge sports stars. It'll be really cool to be able to, and I think also for South America, we obviously have Gabriel from Brazil, but it also gives us a voice in a way, especially since Checo's gone. So I hope he can do good things for us.
So let me ask you a legendary question. Do you like pizza?
Pizza? I do.
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
I do not. No. No, no, no. No. I I I like barely like pineapple by itself. So if I put it on a pizza, no. No thanks. I will support the people that like it. I'm not like a huge hater, but like I won't be eating it.
Okay, the third question that I'm going to ask you. MotoGP paddock or F1 paddock? Where's the better party?
I'm gonna say Formula One. Just
Okay.
because, yeah, I think that people are like more ready for that. So usually after the event, there's like lots more parties out there for people to go to for sure. Yeah, it's like the difference really big. People when they go to a Formula One, especially Miami, for example, like you have so many activations throughout the whole place that maybe MotoGP still doesn't have. But I think I would say Formula One, and maybe I'm a little biased because between the two, I still enjoy Formula One more. So I'm like kind of putting myself, and I'm like, oh, what would I want to do? You know, if I had to pick between the two one weekend, I think I would go with Formula One.
Okay. Question number 4. Would you rather be stuck in a MotoGP garage during a downpour or in the F1 hospitality suite with no Wi Fi?
It's tough because the MotoGP garage is really cool, but it's very small. And if I'm thinking that everyone else is gonna be in there, maybe I would go with the F1 like hospitality. And even if I have no Wi-Fi, there'll hopefully be someone that I can talk to and like have some fun. You know, when it rains in Formula One and the race gets postponed and they're showing like people playing soccer, people taking naps, people dancing. So I think maybe that could be a little bit of fun to like experience that in person.
Okay, here's another question for you then. The 5th question. Your ringtone has to be a driver or rider, team radio for a week. Whose are you picking? For an example, we have a legendary Kimi Raikkonen's Leave Me Alone, I Know What I'm Doing, or something spicier like, recently we heard Charles Leclerc saying, yeah, must be the water. So,
Oh yeah.
what would you?
I think I would maybe do like Lando singing like "It's Friday, yay," or like one or Carlos singing "Smooth Operator." But I think it was really fun too when Carlos and Charles were kind of like fighting, and they were like giving orders to Carlos, and Charles kind of threw the maybe try in Spanish. And because I think Spanish, I think that would be kind of funny too. Or you have a couple like when Toto was calling like Michael, and it's like, Michael, that's not right. Like, I think any of the funny, iconic ones would be really cool. But I think a song, one of the drivers singing, it's funny.
I mean, I would choose, well, let's have some tea during that or something like that.
Oh,
What,
yes.
Louis?
That Miami chat was so funny. Like, I was like in the suite and everyone was watching the race, and I have a group chat with a couple of friends. And we were just like, there's no way they're saying this. Like, let's have some tea while you're at it. That was an interesting, like, conversation because Lewis and Charles obviously can't communicate. It's to the mechanics, so it's just so funny. Like watching it, I can't imagine the stress of the moment, but as fans, it gives us a good laugh for sure.
I mean, we are there for the laugh for all day, every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if you could swap lives with any racing legend for a day, who would it be and why?
Ooh, this is a good question. I think I would do Lewis because he's been at the sport for so long and he's always doing cool things. So I know a couple of years back, I think he rode like Mark Marquez's bike. So kind of having him be him during the day or when they got on the like Top Gun um, airplanes, like a cool day like that where I can truly get to see that or just like experience being in a car. And I pick Lewis because he's one of my favorite drivers, and I feel like he does so much for the sport too. So I think it'll be cool to like see that, being like experience, like know what you're talking about, feeling comfortable in like the engineering meetings and all of that. Or maybe, or then if it wasn't a driver necessarily, I think it would be cool to be in Susie Wolf's shoes just to see how F1 Academy works and getting like that inside scoop to that. I know we have the Netflix show, but I think it would be really cool to be her as well.
Have you ever had the chance to meet Louis in person and talk to him?
I have not. I've seen him a couple times in the paddock. Usually he's like in his scooter. My boyfriend gave me a little gift that it's like part of Lewis. I think it's like the 2018 car, so that was a really cool Christmas gift. Have not had the opportunity, like mostly talked to maybe mechanics. Got to say hi to Esteban and Ollie at the Haas suite, but while I'm there, we're like working, so we're not necessarily allowed to go out there, especially when we're in uniform. But I think just being able to just like walk past by them is crazy. Especially in the paddock, you have so many famous people too. So it's just cool to like see it. I saw Charles Leo. Like I was just walking into the paddock to get some food, and then like Leo was just walking next to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, the dog. He was so cute. So it's just cool being able to see everything that's online on there.
Well, I hope that you get to talk to Louis sooner than later
Me too.
and
Me too.
get
Please.
some signature on the car, model car, or something that will last forever with you.
For sure. I hope so. It'll be so. I think I would like freeze. I wouldn't know what to say to him.
So, Let me ask you a question which is related to hospitality and stuff. What's worse, spilling espresso in hospitality lounge or accidentally sitting in a VIP guest seat?
Ooh, I think spilling the espresso. Because usually, if you're sitting somewhere, you can kind of like, I feel like you can kind of play it off like, oh, I was just trying to look at the view you have from here to the stage. But spilling an espresso on someone, I would feel the need to like go buy them like a shirt or something for them to be able to change you, and I think I would be embarrassed the rest of the day and probably not help anymore, be like, I'm not touching anything.
Yeah, too much hassle, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but thankfully we have a lot of like amazing people that can do that. And I think people would be fine at the end of the day, but I think like I'm a person that gets embarrassed pretty easily, so I feel like I would just be like, where can I hide?
Okay, so the last question that I'm going to ask you for today. We have Drive to Survive from Netflix, which is a scripted series, and then we have F1 Academy, and then they brought this story, The Seat, about Kimi Antonelli and all that. If MotoGP made a reality TV show about its staff and the riders and drivers and everything, what would the title be?
I think that they could, if they want to kind of go with similar to like Drive to Survive, I feel like they could do Ride to Survive, which is like very similar in name. But I think they would have to do something with the word like ride or rider, because that's what they like to be called, not drivers, riders. So Ride to Survive. Again, really bad with coming up with these titles, but I mean, the F1 Academy is F1 Academy. Like, riding for MotoGP, I don't know. It's like, they're
Yeah,
so basic, but I'm not creative in that sense. But I think definitely something with ride or rider for MotoGP. And I think
I'm
they could even do something general to add some like Moto 2 or Moto 3 as well to the storyline.
Well, in your defense, ma'am, I'm pretty sure they also ran out of creativity and then they came up with just F1 Academy and
Okay.
NASCAR, so can't blame it.
Yeah, because you have like full swing for tennis or maybe for golf. Yeah, full swing for golf, match point for tennis. So it's like riding for pole position. I don't know, that might be too long. But something along those lines for sure. Maybe they'll put something on ChatGPT and get some ideas as well.
AI at your service, sir.
Yeah, hopefully they
And
come up with one. I think it'll be good to grow the sport as well.
well, it's been a pleasure, and just like that, last lap overtakes. This episode came and went in a flash. A huge thank you for you, Ines, for giving us a peek into the world behind the world class racing spectacle, where the whole sales team meets adrenaline and passion meets precision. From MotoGP magic to Formula One fairness, it's clear your role is the unsung basic engine behind the racing circus. So before we say goodbye to you, do let us know your social handles so everybody can follow you
Oh,
up and your whole update and all that and contact you as well.
yeah, so my Instagram is just my name, Inés Yofre. It's private, but I think you can still follow me and then I'll accept you. And then if anyone wants to go to a race or anything, you can also just send me a request on there. My email is also my last name, Yofre, at f1experiences.com. So if I can help with anything, you guys can also shoot me an email over there.
Well,
Thank you so
thank
much
you
for
so much
having
for.
me. No, thank you so much for
Well,
having
it
me.
was
This was
my
so
pleasure.
much fun. Always wanted to do a podcast, so glad this was my first one.
There will be many for you in the coming future, definitely. So thank you so much
I hope
for
so.
coming and joining.
No, of course, thank you so
So, to
much.
To our listeners, if you ever thought race weekends just happen by luck, think again, because professionals like Inés keep the wheels turning literally and figuratively. Don't forget to follow us and rate us and share this episode if you enjoyed the ride. Until next time, keep it fast, keep it fun, and always keep it stripped so everybody can see the actual truth about it. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next week.